Good morning, Sac State. Good morning, University of Hawaii. This is Miss Brown with your lesson of the day. I'm recording the lesson that I taught in class just so you could come back and listen to it at your own pace. Now, we're practicing writing notes, and that's what we're going to be working on in this. We worked on it in this lesson, and the video is just some reinforcement for that. That being said, I might be going kind of fast in the video. But the reason why I'm going fast is for those that need the extra speed and the challenge. And for those of us that it's confusing when I go so fast, by all means, please pause the video and take it nice and slow. Okay? So this is all of the terminology, well, the first set of terminology that we need, all about maps with our geography, so that when we do find Brian, we can explain it in a way that makes sense to us, that makes sense to everyone using the correct academic vocabulary. All right, let me come over here. There are 3 types of maps. There are physical, political, and thematic maps. The first is a physical map. A physical map shows physical features of a place, such as bodies of waters and mountains. Physical features are color-coded, and I think we know, like, especially if you see most maps of the globe, it's predominantly blue because water is blue. Dark green indicates low elevation, and as the elevation gets higher and higher, it turns lighter green, eventually turning into orange and brown. So if we look at a physical map, we can actually see, I'll show you right here, where the mountain ranges are. You can see in on the continent of North America, we have an entire set of mountain ranges right here. And we can translate, because we're in California over here, we can translate what we are actually familiar with because we drive around and we know California. And we can use this color code to kind of have an idea of what this area might look like, or this area. Likewise, what this area would look like because of the color codes of a physical map. An example of a physical map, I believe it's on R2 in your book, but a physical map shows you the actual physical characteristics. Next, we have political. Political map shows imaginary boundary lines. These are the ones we're probably most familiar with, because if you think about a map of the United States with the 50 states and all the little boxes of the states, that's a political map. A political map shows where country boundaries are. And remember, the boundaries for countries are they're imaginary lines. So that's the reason why political maps are made of imaginary lines, as you can see here, which it has northern Mexico and southern Canada and 40, some of the islands off of the coast of Florida, and 48 of the 50 states are displayed right here. So political maps, by the way, political maps are it is important when you're dealing with a political map. You can see right here, it says copyright 2018, to notice the date, because the thing about political maps is the map boundaries change, especially when you're dealing with some countries have disputed boundaries even still. So it depends on what map you're looking at. If you look at a map, say even 50 years ago, there were countries that will be on that map that no longer exist, and likewise, that map will be missing countries that now exist. The next is thematic. Thematic is probably what we're most familiar with, thinking back to our elementary, kindergarten to 5th grade, because we used a lot of thematic maps. If you think about in science class and in math class, it'll show like population, or it'll show weather. Our weather maps are thematic. The word inside thematic is theme. And so each thematic map has a specific theme in order to convey a specific amount of information, or a specific kind of information, I'm sorry. And one example, as you can see right here, this is tornado reports. So as you can see, California gets 0 to 1 per 10,000 square miles. And places like northern Texas can get up to 10 tornadoes per year per 10,000 square miles. Another is time zones. Like I said, the weather map that we see on what's the word I'm looking for? On the news in the morning. That it would be an example of a thematic map. Okay, first, very important, and this is all on top of each other, so I apologize. But these are these words that are in the little blue pow sign. I call it the pow sign. Those are our vocabulary words, things we need to write in our notes, things that will help us answer the questions that are in the assignment for today. Parts of the map. First, we have scale. Scale is done in both kilometers and miles. We use miles. Pretty much everyone else uses kilometers. Scale helps us tell you how far on the map you have to go to get where you need to be. It also helps you with measurements, distances between places. That would be a scale. Keep going. If you look at a scale, scales, most of the words that we look for, the things on the map, are along the edges of the map. So the first thing you do is you look around the edges to try to figure out what you're looking at. On this, you can see the scales are right here. Next, we have a legends. Legend, another word for legend is key. A legend tells us what to look for. It's the symbols on the map that tell us what the map is actually showing us. So if you look, where's a legend is usually like a little box. I'll show you right here. This is a legend, and this. Can I put this in present mode? I think I'm going to try to put this in present mode so you can see this one. So if you look at this map just straight up, the map looks like it's a physical map if you're not looking at the legend. It looks like lower elevations, higher elevations because of the color scheme. But when you look at the square, you can see that the color scheme is population per square mile. And these dark colors are not high mountains, it's dense population. So basically, big cities. That's what all of these are. So, there's the legend. So legends are extremely important because you don't want to misread a map. The whole purpose of a map is to convey information. And in order for that information to be conveyed correctly, you need to understand exactly what you're reading. The next part is orientation. And the reason why I did not have this in present mode is because it cuts it off. I'm sorry. Orientation lets you know which way is north, south, east, or west. And the way we find that is we look for the compass rose. And most of you in class already heard of the compass rose and knew exactly what the compass rose was. This is the compass rose. Let me exit out of here so I can make it so we can see what is being said. A compass rose indicates orientation by showing which direction is north, south, east, and west. And then we have lines of latitude and longitude. Remember we talked about this in class. I think of latitude like laying down. They're the horizontal lines that tell us how far north or south we've gone. And then longitude are the vertical lines that tell us how far east and west we've gone depending on which line we are at. And latitude and longitude, we do those. It's just a new name for the same thing we've been doing. One of the things that we did, let me move this around, sorry. One of the things that we talked about was when we are dealing with playing Battleship. This Battleship has a grid, much like you can see back here, the grid. So does the X and Y axis. And if you think of it in coordinate plane, the X axis is longitude, remember, because the X axis is long. And the Y axis would be the lines of latitude. They are used to understand the exact location of things. It's called absolute location when you're dealing in geographic terms. But the exact location and it can go all the way out to the thousandth, I think, 10th, 100th, 10,000th, 10,000th place. It can go out to the 10,000th place because, for example, the coordinates of the White House are 38.8977 north and 77.0365 west. When you are dealing with geography, just remember tadpoles, not these tadpoles. These tadpoles. The T is title and type. The A is ask. The D is date. The P, date and distance, sorry. The P is place. O is orientation. L is legend or key. E is equator. And the S is scale. To go over, the title tells us what we're looking at. And the type is what kind of map, physical, political, or thematic. remember to ask yourself, what does the title tell you about the map, and what do you already know about the title, the subject that's mentioned in the title? Make sure you pay attention to the date on the map. That's pretty important because that time period might not have the same, especially political maps, as today. And the distance. Please go and look at your scale to make sure you understand how big or small of an area this is, unless you can look at the area and identify it easily, such as the United States of America versus the floor plan of your house. Those two you would easily be able to identify just by looking at them. But if we're looking at places we've never been, might be a little bit more challenging. The next is place. Is the map showing a world, continent, a state, a city, or a region? Orientation, make sure you're holding the map right side up, which, again, easy when we're talking about our family's house, a layout of our house, or even United States of America, but maybe more challenging to know which way to hold the map, a map of a country that we've never even heard of. Then we have legend or key. The legend or key tells us what we're looking at on the map. It shows exactly what the map's supposed to say. And then we have the equator. The equator, if you can see the equator, is in the very center of a globe. But the reason why we say equator in tadpoles is to remember where are we at on our lines of latitude and longitude. And then, of course, I've already mentioned scale. Is there scale? How many miles does it measure? And what is the map actually showing? I hope this video is helpful. I hope you got all the notes you need, and you can use this to refresh whenever you need it. I look forward to seeing you guys, and if you have any other questions, I will see you in tutoring. Thanks.